Hey, what's going on? And welcome to the Best Bet Show. I'm Best Bet Dan, and I'm normally your host, but today I'm not going to be your host. Today I'm actually joined in studio with the one and only Matt Jorstad of Jorstad Imagery. And so today's episode is going to be really unique and really different. Matt is going to actually introduce me, but before we get into that, I want to ask you guys a huge favor. Make sure you go to Instagram, follow me, Best Bet Dan. TikTok, follow me, Best Bet Dan. And YouTube, Best Bet Dan. Lock in with me. I'm always posting some really, really dope content. But Matthew, welcome to the show. I'm really glad you're here. And thanks for being willing to hang out and interview me today.
Well, actually, I'm going to welcome you to my show.
Okay.
Because
okay.
I'm indeed the interviewer.
That's a fact.
I mean, you had just mentioned. So my name is Matthew. I run a photography company called Jorstad Imagery. You can find me on Instagram at Jorstad_imagery, Facebook at Matthew Jorstad, and then YouTube at Jorstad Imagery as well. Best bet is what we're talking about. So let's get into it. Question number one, Mr. Daniel Sneed.
Let's do it.
Here we go. What kind of results have Best Bet students gotten in the past?
Oh, wow. Okay. So
starting off heavy. Results.
Straight to results. Wow. Well, I think about you. I think about your story. I think about, you know, the journey that you've been on with your photography business. I think that one of the best things and one of the dopest things is when I met you, you were great at taking pictures already, right? I had nothing to do with you being a great photographer. But you weren't getting money, right? He was kind of taking pictures. He was showing up really hungry, taking pictures at a lot of different athletic events and things like that and stuff with school, but wasn't making money. And so, you know, to watch you from day one, which was June of 2022. So now we're talking about February 2024. Like I literally watched you go get money. You know, and obviously everything is not about money. But in a lot of ways, I think it's just been really dope. The fact that like you went from having a skill that was really good, but not really understanding how to get value from it. But then now being in a position where it's like, yo, like, you know who to talk to, you know what to say, you have your script, you have your sales process, you know where you're going. And it's literally about just going and taking action, right? Whenever you take action, you make sales and you get new clients. So I think that's a huge story. I think about, I got Roman, who is at an Ivy League school right now at Brown University.
GOAT, by the way.
Facts. Roman is a beast in his own right. And, you know, Roman is just like, it's funny, he's big into e-commerce, but even before e-commerce, just for Roman, Best Bet was really like brushing up on the social game. It brought his social awareness to another level in terms of him really understanding how to leverage what was around him, you know, paying attention to the people and the relationships that were there to be built, but maybe weren't yet being built. And so, and it's crazy because, you know, if you talk to Roman today, you know, he'll tell you that Best Bet was transformational for him. So that's Roman. Then there's, I think about Anna. And Anna was really cool. She was living at home. She had moved out her parents' house, then had to move back home. She gets into Best Bet. She gets some phenomenal networking skills, starts building some really awesome relationships, and then, you know, gets a nice sales job. And before you know it, she moved to Hawaii. So I think she moved to Hawaii.
She's out of here.
Right. She moved to Hawaii in 2022. I want to say May of 22, and she's still been there, right? So like she hasn't had to boomerang and come back home. So it's things like that keep me in the game. One student, she was pretty kind of, you know, introverted when it comes to her job as a server. The social techniques and skills from Best Bet have brought her out of her shell. And I talked to her mom like a month ago. Her mom told me straight up, she was like, she has over 5 figures in the bank, and she makes, as a waitress, she's making the type of money that the mom was making as a travel nurse, because she is so personable, because, you know, she has strategies that help to bring her out of her shell versus her kind of being more introverted. So like, those are just kind of just the stories that I just boom offhand. And we ain't even jump into Juan. I mean, Juan, first year in sales, I think he did just under 6 figures.
He's at the car?
Yes.
He's selling the car? Yeah, dude. Juan's a beast.
Yeah, and another one that has built a significant savings account outside of like the retirement thing that they give you with the job or whatever. So yeah, those are some of the top stories off mine, or that come to the top of my mind when you ask that question.
So I know I skipped right over everything and went straight to the results of best bet, but for the people that may not know, can you give a little background as to what best bet is and define social trades for us?
All right, so, well, you just start with the name, right? So you start with the name, best bet, right? We say that all the time. Like, yo, like your best bet is to do this, right? You know, traffic is bad. You know, you're in a hurry. Your best bet is to take, you know, 390 versus 590. You know, oh, you want to get there by Thursday. Your best bet is not to fly standby. You know, just go ahead and buy that ticket versus trying to, you know, get the discount through your buddy that's a flight attendant or whatever, right? So that's a phrase that we've used, and we continue to just use it a lot, right? What's the best bet? And so when I looked at my own journey and I looked at how these particular skills put me in position to create a day-to-day that I like, and a day-to-day that I like, I like to be in control of my day-to-day versus having somebody else in control, right? And so with this skill set, I'm able to do that. And so that's what just really got me really excited about it. And then, like, again, that's going to give you the best bet. One thing I know about Gen Z and now Gen Alpha coming up is that these are generations that more than ever before want control. They're not growing up to say, hey, I want to go work for this company for 40 years. Like, at this point, they're not even really looking for that type of lifestyle.
Nope.
And so when you have young people that want to be in control, then I just believe that they need skills that will give them control. And so that's where best bet came from. It just, you know, I looked at my own journey and I looked at the skills that allowed me to be able to go create money. Like, I can go create money, whether it's through the relationships I have, whether it's through the skills that I have with, you know, public speaking, with sales. Like, matter of fact, I'm launching into actually my speaking business this year. I'm speaking at schools. I wrote a couple of speeches, so I might be coming to a school near you. So be on the lookout for that.
Watch out.
So that's kind of, you know, why best bet. And then social trades, or even what I've started calling as high value communication skills. It's social skills or communication skills that will earn you money. Point blank, period. And I was listening to a guy on YouTube. His name's Myron Golden. And he has this really kind of awesome breakdown where he talks about the levels of earning. So he said he breaks it down. There's 4 levels of earning, right? The first level being implementation, right? At that level, you are the labor, right? Whether it be making houses, whether it be making sandwiches, if you're on the level where you're actually doing the thing, right? That's level implementation, but there's a cap. Because your energy, your energy and your time, because you can't work all day every day, and you can only work so many hours. There's only 24 hours. So at that level, like, I think, you know, just roughly the max out for that, and this is not, you know, the perfect number, the absolute number, but the max out for labor is around like $85,000 to $90,000 that you can make, right? Now, can some people make more? Absolutely. Do some people make a lot less? Yes. The next level of learning is management. Managing these other people. And low-level managers, obviously, you could be managing, you know, on a fast food level, you know, making decent money. I think, you know, if you manage a McDonald's, you know, you're going to make around, I think at this point, some managers of McDonald's are making 6 figures or fast food in general. But at the top level of management, a lot of times you can be up near $250,000, like $250,000 if you're managing teams at like big companies like, you know, your Apples, your Lockheed Martin, things like that. But even there, and it's funny because any adult that is listening to this, this will resonate with them. What I'm getting ready to say is that at that management level, if you're at high level management, the company pays you enough to be satisfied, but they constantly remind you to a degree that they own you because they're paying you $250,000. And so, and even there, you know, you kind of have this cap, you know, in terms of what you can earn. But then the last 2 levels of earning are the ones where, you can really make some magic happen. And the next level is communication. Earning money because of messages that you communicate, whether it be through sales, right? Because selling is social, it's communicative. Whether it be public speaking, whether it be acting, entertainment, music, arts. Even in arts, like a painting is communicating a message. Music without lyrics is still communicating a message. So when you're on a level of communication, you now can earn up to millions of dollars in compensation through earning through communication versus through management and labor. So that brings me to kind of what Best Bet is and what the design of it is. The design of it is to bring young people from level 1 to level 3 within a very short period of time, where you don't have to earn with your labor just because you're 17. You can earn with your communication skills. You can sell. You can be a public speaker. You just need the blueprint. So that's what that is. And the fourth step is imagination, which again, if you can communicate at a high level, now whatever you do imagine when it comes to like building industry, when it comes to innovation, now you're talking about Steve Jobs, you're talking about, Bill Gates, and shoot, we could even add at this point Kanye West into that conversation of, some of the major innovators, right? So in thinking about that, it's like, so the levels of communication or the levels of earning, it's really cool to kind of understand. If you're listening, I would encourage you to kind of go back and re-listen to that, because again, the faster you can get to level 3, the more profitable you can become. And that's what my focus is. And it's interesting, social trades, and again, it's social, but it's trades, right? It becomes trade speaks of commerce and exchanging money, exchanging value. And I talk about money and I focus on money a lot because I'm 36 years old. And even in my own life, in my own journey, in my own story, I know what it feels like to not be able to make money. I know what it feels like to want to have more and better, but not feel like you have the skill sets to do it. And I've watched a lot of adults be in that position where it's like, man, you got a single mom that's working, 2.5 jobs just to make ends meet. When it's just like, man, if she was in sales, she understood how to sell, she could work one job and make 3 times what she's making at those 2.5 jobs and have a much better lifestyle for herself. Mm-hmm. So my vision and my goal is, how can I get young people earning more faster? And it's funny, I have that on my Instagram page, and I've been thinking about changing it because I feel like it sounds kind of, I don't know, disingenuous, but like that's really what my goal is I want young people to be able to create not just careers, but lifestyles. Mm-hmm. Word. So
a lot of people will hear something like social trades and they'll think, oh, I know how to sell something, or I've sold something before, or I know how to talk to people, I can network. What's sort of the importance of consciously practicing these things and learning about networking, even if I already know how to talk, I already know how to do these things? What's the importance of intentionally learning these as a skill and the continued practice of that skill?
So number one, most people, they really don't have social trades. They have soft skills. Mm-hmm. And it's funny. So I meet a lot of parents, and, oftentimes I meet a parent and, they might be really dismissive of what I'm sharing with them. And it's, my kid talks to everyone. And, if you leave my kid in the room, they'll just make friends with everybody in there. And that's cool. And I'm not knocking that kid. But in most cases, they're confusing soft skills with social trades, right? So soft skills is just, again, you walk into, any restaurant, they greet you, they say hello, they're smiley, they're polite, they're kind of empathetic, and they kind of just pay attention to your mood or whatever. That is a soft skill right now. Do soft skills help you do social trades better? 1,000,000%. But soft skills by themselves are not social trades, because I'll give you an example. I wrote this course, How to Job. I think How to Job is literally one of the best kept secrets on the planet, because the whole thing with that product is to teach you how to use your job, to make your job benefit you and give you more than just money, right? Like if you work at a coffee shop and the most you take home from that coffee shop job is your paycheck, some dirty clothes, and coffee every now and again, you're missing opportunity. Boom, you're greeting these people, right? You're talking to them, and you might see people consistently, 4 or 5 times a week. But like if you're only using soft skills, you're not really building relationship, right? Whereas when you're communicating with people, it's different. Now it's just like, hey, I see you in the area a lot. Do you live in the area? Do you work in the area? Oh, wow, actually, I work right around the corner at such and such. Really? What's that company all about? I've seen them before. I've heard of them. I'm not sure what it is. Oh, wow, this is what we do. Oh, wow. Do you like it? Well, yeah, I like it. Oh. And now what's happening is, right, you're actually building a relationship, because relationships really are made of memories and data. That's what relationships are. Is you know a lot about people and you spent a lot of time with them and created memories with them, which now constitutes a relationship, right? Relationships are what make the world work. So there's so many kids that work at jobs, and yeah, they're communicating with people all day, every day, but they're not building relationships. And I think that's the difference is, practicing asking the right questions, thinking about what are the right questions to ask, and having a coach, having a mentor that can help steer you in that direction and show you, hey, this is how you can get the most out of different situations. This is how you can create an advantage, right? And again, we live in a society that hijacks words, and we make words only mean one thing, like the word manipulate, right? Everybody hears, oh, manipulative, bad, ooh, evil, don't manipulate. Yes, don't manipulate people for selfish gain and take advantage of them and make people like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't do that. But if I know how to manipulate an iPad, that's just simply saying I know how to work my way around it. So if you know how to socially manipulate situations to get better results for yourself, while at the same time not harming anyone, not taking advantage of anybody, like, why wouldn't you want that skill set? You know what I mean? And so, your question specifically was, it was why get coaching in these things? Is because why not? And I think that kind of speaks to the young people that I look for. I don't work with every young person. Best Bet Skills Academy is not school. It's a place you want to show up. It's a place you want to be. I look for young people that are hungry. I look for young people that because again, I think about, all right, quick story. There's a basketball player named Lenny Cook. Lenny Cook at one point was ranked higher than LeBron James. Lenny Cook, however, had the worst attitude, felt like he didn't have to go to practice, felt like he didn't have to put in the extra work to build his game. And he just didn't do a lot of the things that allow you to just continue to go to the next level. Lenny Cook, it's funny, bro, Lenny Cook came to Rochester and was playing in a semi-pro game in the East High Gymnasium. And to see that, for me, I went to that game because I heard he was going to be in town. I saw it. And to me, to think, and this man knows he was at one point ranked better than LeBron, and he's playing in empty high school gyms in ABA leagues versus filled out arenas that LeBron is in because he didn't take coaching seriously. And that's what it's for. It's yeah, you might know how to talk to people, but maybe you need help asking questions. Maybe you need help working on your voice inflections. And so again, Best Bet is not for everyone. And I'm so clear on that. I've turned away a few students in the past couple of months.
I've seen it.
And it's just nah, this is not for you. I had to tell parents, I had a set of parents, they were looking for something, they're trying to figure something out, what will work for their kid. And unfortunately, when it came down to the interview and the whole process, there was hope. And I was feeling I was really on the edge with this kid. But then, so I said, I'm going to let him in. And then, so I called, the parents were actually going to go ahead and process the enrollment. They're going to make the payment. And the dad goes, I'm not sure about this. I want to talk to him one more time. I was like, nope, don't do that. Don't do that. Because what I've seen parents actually spook their kids away from getting this started because they kind of scare them and make it this big thing. And of course, I believe Best Bet is a big deal, but I don't want kids to be scared.
I mean, it's definitely a big. let's not downplay that.
Right.
I mean, Best Bet was definitely a big deal for me.
Right. So we don't want to downplay it, but then also, and I say big deal in terms of it's not all this work. It's not arduous and just heavy what school can be at times.
Yeah, okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal in the way of it's gonna be this annoying, boring thing that I'm gonna have to be doing all these homework assignments. Because that's not what it is. But it is a big thing in the way of what you're gonna get out of it. And,
right, 1,000,000%. Yeah. So I told Dad, I said, don't talk to him. Let's do this. I'm just gonna act like he's enrolled. I'm just gonna I'm gonna go about everything and act like we're gonna get started. You guys made the payment or whatever, right? So I reach out to him, just doesn't answer. And the dad's telling me he's home, he's in his room, he's awake. So I send him texts, no answers, no responses. And so at that point, I just went back to that. I was like, yeah, nah, when we talked, I had some hope. And you know, he wasn't as, what's the word? Energetic as not even energetic. He wasn't as engaged as I would have liked, but I could tell there's intelligence there. I could see that, like, yo, like this kid, if he put some effort in and got into the right environment, I think he could really do well. But ultimately, I just told the parent, I said, nah, like this, we're not gonna. At least not now, maybe in the future, you know. And he's a younger kid, so there's hope, you know. Maybe in 2 years at 17, you know, it's like, hey, can we get that thing? I want to work with that guy. So, but I think that, again, it takes a special type of young person. And not that if you don't work with me, you're not special. But I just think that, like, when I look at you and I look at your story and your experience, like, when I met you, you knew, you didn't know everything, and you knew you didn't know everything, right? But you did have kind of a wit about yourself that says, well, I know I'm not going to do this. And that was particularly continuing on, like, with traditional education with college. You were just like, I know I don't want that, but I do want, you know, a lifestyle where I can make great money and run a business and things like that. So, yeah. And so for me, like, that's what I was like, okay, that is good ground to work with, you know what I'm saying? Because you came to the table hungry, you know, you came to the table, like, I remember, like, as soon as you got in, you sent me a screenshot of one of the objectives or one of the side missions, and you were doing that, and I was like, oh snap!
I remember it was the first video on Best Skills Academy. I think it was some intro, and you were like, y'all could be anywhere in the world right now, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. And then I texted you, and I was like, yo, you're quoting Jay-Z in the damn video? You were like, oh my gosh, this white boy knows about Jay-Z. Damn.
We hit it off like immediately.
Yeah, man.
We hit it off pretty quick.
So you just mentioned that Best Bet isn't for everyone, who it may not be for, and you just mentioned who it is for. How can those people get the most out of Best Bet once they're in it? What sort of mindset do they need to have going into Best Bet, and how can that sort of benefit them to get the best out of what you have to offer?
I think you got to be hungry. I think you have to be very hungry. I think you got to be relentless, and you have to understand that skill is different than information. I think that is one of the biggest messages that I try my best to just communicate over and over and over again, is that you can have information, like, you know, I look at basketball. I love basketball, right? So when it comes to basketball, I can show you how to make a layup. Like, I can show you the technique, right? And you can have the information. Okay, this is how you do it. 1, 2 steps, leg up, and then boom, you make the layup.
And I'm still getting cooked.
Facts. But again, you have the information, but that information, it does not turn into skill, or it doesn't turn into results until you practice it and you build a skill, right? To the point where it's like, okay, you know, you do this, you know, the traditional layup long enough. Now it's like, man, I feel like I got really a command of the ball. Now you try reverse layup. Now you work with the other hand, because you got the steps down so much in your brain with this side. Now, okay, now I just change sides. Now I just do it, you know, with the left hand. Then it's like, wait, hold on, let me try a finger roll. Let me see if I can do it no backboard. And again, you get more and more of a command and authority with the ball the more you work with it and the more you build skill. So it's interesting, right? And me and you, we talked about this the other day when I talked about how the information that is in Best Bet Skills Academy out of the gate, like, it changes the game for kids. Like, very quickly, they start, like, implementing some of the stuff they're learning, and they get results really fast.
I can definitely attest to that.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like, yo, like, immediately you start seeing how life is different and can be different with these skills. And so there's like, it's almost like it's like a high. You get this high of like, yo, like, nah, like, this actually is this different. Like, this really works. But then it's like, and I've seen this happen. The initial high is there, you get some results, you're excited, but you don't stay. I don't say stay in the game, because again, I follow up with my students or whatnot. But then also it comes to what they're willing to put in. you know, they get busy, life happens, and they don't realize that, I gotta build skill. I gotta build skill. Like, there's certain things that like should be like a no-brainer. Like, for example, on last night's coaching call, I did a themed call, so it wasn't an open call, it was a theme. I had a specific theme I was kind of teaching on this call, and the call was, what's your script? And the whole premise of that is the auto responses that you have when you communicate with people, they actually can either make you or break you. They can create opportunities for you, or they can take opportunities from you. And so when we talked about that, it was just like, now, you know, some people have their script and they say like, man, I didn't try to make that my script, but I say this all the time. I say this all the time. Well, you maybe didn't try, but you took the steps to make that a habit by being repetitive with it, repetitive. So if you want to change that and you want to be more intentional with your presets, right? I kind of likened it to when you get in the car and you have your radio, you got your presets, this station, this station, this station. Well, your responses, if you create them as presets and you have responses that are beneficial to you, that could change the game. Like, one of my presets is, who do you know? Like, you know, if I'm doing something, hey, who do you know that does this? Who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? Because it's like, I'm always trying to kind of get further into your network to meet more people and to connect with more people, because that creates more opportunity for me to serve, right? And that's where value is. Value is in service, but it is also creating more opportunities for people to serve me. And I need people to serve me. Like, I can't do everything on my own. Like, we need each other, and that's what life is. Typically in life, the reason why people struggle to get to where they want to get to is because they don't have enough people that they serve and serve them, and they don't have these symbiotic relationships that are moving them forward. So like, building skill really is everything. Like, being willing to just take the time and really like, understand like, how to move, you know, when it comes to selling, you know, even like with the psychology of sales and understanding how you use that, not just in an environment where you're selling someone something for money, but like, like in life. You know, I was talking to a friend of mine. She does my edge up and she does my beard trim. And so I was talking to her. She's got an idea for a business. And I was giving her some tips on how to launch it. And I brought up one particular method, and she immediately, I don't want to do that. And so, again, I understand sales. I understand, okay, so she's rejecting an idea. I got to get information. I got to find out all of the reasons why she's rejecting this information. So I got to listen. So I just let her talk. I listened. She told me all the reasons why she didn't want to use this particular method. After I heard everything, then it was so easy to be like, oh yeah, so I am talking about using this method, but I'm not talking about what you're thinking. This is what I'm thinking. Then when I introduced new information, she was able to make a new decision. And that's sales. That's what sales is. But so many people who aren't learned in sales, who don't understand they don't understand that. Most of sales is listening. A lot of times, if you listen long enough, people will tell you what they're buying, why they're buying it, what they want to buy, so on and so forth. But it's just, will you listen long enough? But again, that takes reps. That takes being willing to build the skill. And I think that's where you create your value in any profession, in anything you're doing. If you're going to earn good money, you can't be like bad at it. You can't be like, you know what I'm saying, where you're like barely good at it. Like, you want to be the best. And so, the young people that come to the table and that really work and that really put in effort to build skill, those are the ones that I see that like literally just take off from this course. You being one of them. My man.
I love what you said about presets. I've never really heard anyone sort of talk about that way of speaking like that. And who do you know is definitely a preset that I steal all the time. With that being said, who do you know that needs to hear who needs to hear this podcast? Who do you know that needs that information that we were talking about? And who do you know? When did you realize? When did you realize that you needed to make best bet?
When did I realize it? All right, so I got the idea a couple years before I actually launched it. I got the idea a couple years before I launched, and I just didn't do anything with it. I just kind of whatever. then I launched it as a podcast. It was originally the Best Bet Skill Sets podcast. And so I was doing that. And I realized that at the time, this was like around 2020, 2019, young people really weren't like tuning into podcasts like that. And then also too, like, I don't know, I didn't feel like I was really making the impact that I wanted to make. So I stopped doing the podcast. And then I got blood clots in my lungs in 2021 and almost died. That was crazy. And so coming out of that, I kind of had this experience where I guess you could say, like, I don't want to say my life passed before my eyes.
I don't know, that's what it sounds like.
But like life did, it did seem a lot more valuable to me in that, like, yo, like, I don't know, I don't want to just make money just like doing whatever. Like I want to make impact. Like I want to really be able to say that, like, yo, I'm serving people well. And so I don't know. I felt like I had a lot to offer, you know, being in the space of network marketing where, you know, you're building teams of people that sell stuff. A lot of times people come to the table, they don't really put in effort. They don't really try. They're older, they're jaded. They say they want something different, but they're not willing to do something different. And my thought was like, man, yo, like, to be honest, if I can catch young people between the ages of like 16 and like 23, 22, if I can catch them and if I can help them and show them how to build really dope skills and create really dope lives, like that's what I would want. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to see young people winning, because right now, in most cases, the formula that young people are following, it's not as effective as it once was. At one point, highly effective, you know, but today in this day and age, it's just not nearly as effective as it once was. And so, you know, my thought is just like, man, I just want to serve. I just want to serve, and I want to serve at a high level. And if you liken it to sports, right? So like my role, like if you took like an athlete, like you played baseball, right? So in baseball, you have like when you think about high school, you play for the school team, right? And you have the school workouts, you know, things that they do or whatever. But then the ones that are serious, like they won't just have like a skills coach. They'll have a skills coach, but then they'll have like a private trainer, right? This trainer that is like working on their agility, their speed, their strength and conditioning. There we go. They have strength and conditioning, they have skills, and then you have whatever school does in playing, right? So like for me, Best Bet kind of falls into that role of like strength and conditioning, or like skills training, but for your social skills and communication, as opposed to being able to run, jump, hop, skip, and fall.
That's all the questions I got for you.
Word. I will say this, kind of just because I want to touch on something. So, you know this because you kind of like went through this journey with me. I got diagnosed with ADHD this time last year.
Yeah, man. Tell us about, hold up, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I don't know how I glossed over that. That is quite a significant aspect. That was, you went your entire life having ADHD and not knowing.
No clue.
And now at the age of 36, 35 when you were diagnosed. You were diagnosed with ADHD at the age of 35. I just interrupted you. Keep going about that.
Cool. So yeah, it was wild because in a lot of ways, I began to see that me building this skill set was not even just like so much, you know, for career and, you know, business. In a lot of ways, it was coping. It was how I coped with the fact that like, yo, like my brain works different. I got to be doing new stuff. To me, to have the day look the same over and over and over again, like I can't live that way. And if the seasons in my life where I tried that, it was always like after a while, like you start out being the greatest employee at a job, right? Just like, I'm here, I'm excited, 60 days in, 90 days in, it's just like, yo, like I hate this place. Like it's like, I need like, and I'm formulating an exit plan. I'm like trying to get out because I can't do this no more. I'm like fed up. But I just thought that was normal. I thought it was normal. I thought it was like, you know, my thing was, I guess, you know, I'm an entrepreneur. And as an entrepreneur, You know, I can't work a job. And it wasn't so much that as so much as my brain just not supplying me with the dopamine that everybody else gets to do certain tasks or whatever. So one thing that, you know, is interesting is once I got the diagnosis and I started paying attention to some stuff, I started asking my students, hey, you know what ADHD is? And so, you know, kind of finding out that like, yo, like, because when I asked you, you were like, well, I got it straight up, but you hadn't been officially diagnosed.
Still not.
Right. And so it's just like.
My brothers do.
Gotcha. I found that a lot of the young people that I worked with, not all of them, but many of them kind of fell into this category. And having this skill set and being neurodivergent, like, it almost is like medicine, because as my interests change, as I change, as different things happen, I can always kind of use this skill set, right, to kind of flow where my interests are, you know, and even now more so as well, too, kind of understanding what my limitations are. And I don't say that like in a negative connotation, right, because to a degree, everybody has their limits, right, like, yo, like, what you call it, Shaq is just not going to be a gold medal winning jockey. Like Shaq is not winning the Triple Crown. He's not winning the Kentucky Derby. You know what I'm saying? Or the free throw battle. None of that. And so it's not necessarily that Shaq is like lesser of an athlete. That's just not where his strength is. So I think for me now, in a lot of ways, I've learned myself through this journey not to try to do everything on my own, and learning that like, hey, it's okay for me to come to an end and have to lean on other people and have to lean on just other methods. And even like right now with my public speaking business that I mentioned, like my wife is running that for me. Like she's the one who's doing the outreaches. She's the one that's reaching out to schools, because for me to do 20 emails a day, which may sound like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. I can't do it. I won't do it. I might do it like one day. And after that, like, didn't do it. Oh, man. And after like a week, I'm like, oh, man, I guess that's over. But my wife, on the other hand, like, yo, she gets life from literally like sectioning off little tasks and just, okay, every day, did my 20. Like she works that way. And so it's just like finding that team and finding that element of like, yo, like, okay, this is how we function together. This is how I use my community and my network to help me move forward as I help them move forward. So yeah, definitely like if you are neurodivergent and you know it, clap your hands. But like, yo, if you fall in kind of to that space of neurodivergent ADHD, like this is definitely something I would say consider, because one thing too about ADHD and neurodivergent people, it's very difficult for us to do stuff that don't make sense, but it's really easy for us to do stuff when we see like the practicality of it. Like practically, like this makes a lot of sense to have these set of skills: public speaking, sales, content creation, leadership, teaching. Like it just makes a lot of sense. So it's easy to move through the information. Networking, yep.
That was probably one of my, that's an important one.
That's a fact. Networking
That's an important one. That was my first big takeaway, the networking module. I think it is the first module in the course, but the networking module really opened my eyes to the people out there that do exist and that you are actually allowed to talk to, which something was that I didn't think about before. Right. Like I'd be at my basketball game taking my pictures, and then I would see someone on the sideline and be like, I wonder if they want some pictures, but I just wouldn't even talk to them. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know that there was anything to say. I didn't know you could walk up to someone and start a conversation that could lead to anything. With the networking module, that really opened my eyes to that. I don't think you were done.
Nah, I think I was pretty much wrapped up. I think that was everything. But yeah, so, you know, just to kind of sum things up, you know, I created this place, Best Bet Skills Academy, to be an experience, to be coaching, right? It's not just a course. And I'm not a guru. Like, it's funny, you know, a lot of kids, I talk to them and you know, when they I've talked to kids that have seen me on social media first, and I meet them in real life, and they're like, yo, we just thought you were some guru trying to scam us. And it's just like there's so much of that out there now that I don't blame them, because there are so many people that, you know, make these talking head videos and they sell you a course, and then you just, well, did I really get anything from that? And the course is just a part or an aspect of what I do. More than anything, honestly, it's the coaching, it's the building skill, it's the helping young people see life from an entirely different lens, giving them an advantage, taking a skill set that most adults. And it's funny, I made a TikTok video the other day and I was talking about this stuff, and a guy commented, he said, yo, most adults don't know how to do what you just said. And I said, you're right. And, you know, I even in doing my research, I found that the skills that I teach, most people don't really get like an understanding of them till like they're like 30s. So to be able to take that kind of mindset shift that happens normally at 30 and 35 and 32 and bring that to a young person at 17, 15, 16, wherever, yo, that automatically is a cheat code, because you're getting somewhere before everybody else.
15-year head start is definitely something I would be looking for.
That's a W. Facts. But I think we can end it here. Good show?
Nice.
My man. All right, so again, if you enjoyed the episode, if you loved it, maybe you feel like you're a good fit. I would love to have a conversation with you. So you can hit the website, bestbetlife.com. You can learn more there. You can fill out the application. You can email me. My email address is on there. But either way, I'm easy to get a hold of. I'm not hard to find. But I just want to say a huge thank you to Matthew and Jorstad Imagery for coming into the studio today and being willing to do the interview. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate our friendship. You know
yes,
what I'm saying?
Sir.
We've gone from just, you know, working together to, you know, having a friendship. So, you know, shout out to friendship.
Shout out to friendship.
So, yeah. Until next
Knuckles
time.
mad ashy, bro.
Yo, chill, bro.
They can see it on the camera. Don't act like it's nothing new.
Oh, shoot. I'm hiding behind the iPad. That's crazy. I'm out of here, man. We out. Peace.